martial arts masters facing the ultimate challenge. Bloodsport 2, the next Kumite.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 1996 martial arts sequel, Bloodsport 2. The film is directed by Alan Meres and Philip Tan. And the film stars Daniel Bernhardt, James Hong, Pat Morita and Donald Gibb. Right, okay, this time round we have Daniel Bernhardt's character, Alex Cardo. He is, we see at the beginning of the film, he's a bit of a criminal. He is looking to steal a precious sword. What he doesn't know is that this precious sword is to be used as the winning prize in the legendary fighting tournament, the Kumite. He is captured in the process of trying to steal this sword, sent to prison, is taken under his wing by James Hong's character, Sun, taught some new ways to do martial arts, and is released and is determined then to win the Kumite for the honour of his sensei, but also at the same time trying to get this sword back to make sure it is be able to be given away as a prize. What are my thoughts on Bloodsport 2? Well, obviously, we all know the first Bloodsport was a Jean-Claude Van Damme classic. It's still regarded as a classic. Great martial arts film. Great blueprint in regards to martial arts tournament films. And it's just very, very entertaining. So all this film really had to do was kind of, in a lot of ways, stick to that blueprint. And while it makes some missteps along the way, and it does, and I'll talk about them, I think for the most part it does actually do that, and it works very closely to that blueprint. And quite a lot of the times, the actual fight scenes, especially in the tournament, some of the fight, you get more of them, and some of them are better than what you actually get in the original Bloodsport, and they go on much longer. So that it actually has some real positives going for it, this one. Now, Daniel Bernhardt was a decent star in the 90s in regards to martial arts, B-movies and that type of stuff. He's still going now, actually. You usually see him playing bad guys in, like, you know, lower quality action films. I've seen him in a few Aaron Eckhart action films in the last couple of years. It was in that Dave Bautista one that I reviewed a few weeks ago, the one where Dave Bautista's that hitman that has to try and get out of a contract on his head. So you do still see him quite a lot these days. So he's still got something of a career. And he actually does very well here, you know, very, very clearly a skilled martial artist. Everyone's can debate whether they think he or Van Damme's better or whatever. I'm not really interested in that. I found, his martial arts to be exciting. I found the fight choreography to be pretty damn exciting for the most part. I think where this film kind of gets kind of lost here is this side story of this sword, you know, this priceless sword that's to be given away as a prize in the Kumite. I just didn't feel the film needed it, and it just felt like every time there was something done on that, it just completely ruined the pace of the film. And Pat Morita was just absolutely wasted in this film. He's in it. It's always nice to see him in movies, but he's just wasted. He kind of is like the person that owns the sword, I think. Some kind of, collector. But his scenes are just completely and utterly forgettable, and I'm not really sure why he was in the film other than it's Pat Morita. James Hong has a much bigger part. He's kind of, like I say, he plays like his mentor that he meets in prison. And I liked his part, apart from the whole film is told like as a flashback, if you like, because James Hong is speaking to a lot of his young students. When I mean young, I mean all under 10. martial arts students, and they're recapping this story of how, Alex Cardo changed his personality from being like a bit of a criminal to like becoming this honourable fighter in the Kumite. And that's was an odd thing to do, if you like. It didn't need that at all. I don't think the film, him recapping what was going on to his students, and then you've got these kids who clearly, obviously, their acting isn't going to be great, standing up and saying this, that, and the other, and it just, again, takes the pace out of the film, and it just lowers the quality of the film, and the film just didn't need it. So it definitely didn't need those two elements. I thought the prison element, with him being in the prison initially and having to kind of take on the gangs in the prison and this kind of stuff, worked decent. And they kind of got him out of prison just at the right time before it was becoming repetitive. So then the film kind of changed to the Kumite. And like I say, that's for me is when the film really, really found its feet, is when it got to the Kumite stuff. Because we get to see Donald Gibb again as Ray Tiny Jackson from the original Bloodsport. He's kind of, I think they called him a handler. So he kind of assesses the fighter's needs and that kind of stuff. And actually, to be fair, I'm not really sure what he does in the film. It's just nice to have him in the film because he was obviously a big part of the original Bloodsport. So all the Kumite stuff is done really good. I think, apart from a couple of the fights that just didn't work. For example, they have like a female fighter entering the Kumite this time. And again, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. Don't get me wrong on that. But the way they portray this female fighter, I just thought it didn't do them or her justice. It was very 90s and quite sexist, I thought, at times. But, it was of its time, I suppose. But like I say, apart from a couple of missteps with the fights, everything else I think worked really well, and they were beautifully choreographed for the most part. And they went on longer as well, a lot of them, than the original Bloodsport fights. The main villain here, I forget his name, which really says a lot, really. He was very forgettable. He is no Bolo Young from the original Bloodsport. He was a brilliant villain from that film. He was like, you felt like there was no way anyone could beat him. Whereas in this one, the main villain, even though he was beating fighters up and this kind of stuff, he was also getting kicks and punches against him, and he didn't feel indestructible like the Bolo Young character did in the original Bloodsport. I had a pretty good time with this. I think it could have been better. They made a few missteps, but anybody that thought like the Bloodsport 2 was going to be absolutely criminally terrible compared to the first one, yeah, it's not. It really isn't. It's got some good things going for it here, especially the martial arts sequences and the fights. All done very well. I think Daniel Bernhardt is a decent lead here, and I would argue a better actor as well than Van Damme. Maybe not a better athlete, but I even think that's debatable as well. So, yeah, I had a good time with this one, so check it out if you haven't seen Bloodsport 2. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you like your 90s martial arts movies. So thanks for joining me for this review, guys. Don't forget to call back on the channel for plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.